This is
Brighton's Finest.
bringing the artists closer to you.
Juice.
So welcome to Nick Mulvey. Thanks for coming into the studios today.
Thank you, Jeff. Nice to be here.
And you're out driving about all over the country, aren't you? Doing radio interviews here, there and everywhere.
That's right, yeah. We have an album to promote.
Sure. And the album is called Wake Up Now, which is out on 8th of September.
Exactly.
It's your follow-up album to the Mercury-nominated debut album of 3 years ago, wasn't it? 3 years ago now?
3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite a long time. So tell me about what you've been doing in between, because obviously the Mercury was a big thing for you and raised your profile quite considerably, I should imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Always an honour to be recognised, and that was back at the end of 2015.
2015 was
The album came 14.
Oh, yeah.
No,
and then you got,
sorry, I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry. The album came out 2014, the Mercury Prize later that year.
Yeah.
Then we toured it right the way to the end of 2015.
Yeah.
At which point, the finishing of that album coincided with, personally for me, a move out of living in London to living in the countryside. And found out my wife was pregnant and wrote this album in parallel with the pregnancy and the birth of our kid, and recorded it at the end of 2016, and then over into the beginning of this year we finished it.
So the child is born.
The baby is born. He's now crawling everywhere. And
Got a name?
Inca. His name is Inca, yeah, and he loves playing drums, actually.
Really?
Oh, he's crazy about it, yeah.
So he's following in his father's footsteps already.
Well, we'll see, yeah.
Yeah. Because originally you were a hang player, well, that's what you were known for, playing with Portico Quartet.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
A band I'm quite familiar with. I saw them play live on 2 or 3 occasions.
Okay, yeah.
And, I think you were in the band at that point, because you were there between somewhere in like 2008 to 2011, something like that.
Exactly, maybe. 2012 was my last gig.
Right.
And it was... I remember some sort of great shows at the Old Market.
Yeah.
In Home.
That's one of the gigs I saw.
There were some really good ones there, and we did one at the Dome. I remember really enjoying. Yeah, so I was playing the hang in that, which is an unusual percussion instrument. Yeah. H-A-N-G, worth a Google.
Yeah.
But I was always a guitarist and always sort of into writing songs and working with lyrics, and so I was always gonna kind of get back onto that at some point.
Because you went to study in Havana, is that right, in Cuba?
I did, yeah, as a youngster, yeah. That was a thing I did starting out.
Yeah, and you were always into kind of music, exploring music, even as an academic. I think you were doing a course in ethnomusicology.
I did, yeah. I would never say I was sort of an academic at heart, but I made it
through. But you qualified.
Yeah, I got myself that degree. And do you know what? I just was exposed to so much music through that, and I loved it all, and just had such an appetite.
Sure.
And I love, absolutely. I love to understand music in its context. There's no note that is not full of every other note that's come before it. You know what I mean? And we would pull apart a Britney Spears track or something in class, and you wouldn't believe how interesting one of those tracks could be. Or we'd look at the role of, like, the way music evolved along with the introduction of the railway in Congo, and looking at mining and songs that created around mining, and the way that affected gender roles within Congolese pop music or something like that. And it's needless to say, I'm just crazy about music.
Sure.
And always have been, and so if you really love a style, you love all the styles around it that make it that way.
With the new album, does that kind of background inform the new album? If it does, how does it?
Oh, I think that is the kind of the setting of the album in a way, because all of those musics that I've absorbed leave their mark, but this album is something beyond that, in that I was actually in one place when I wrote it, as I described, out in Wiltshire, and it wasn't really about thinking about different styles or how to combine them. It's not really about that. It's for a while, including my first album, it's been about a deeper process of kind of embodying those styles and letting them all kind of find their meeting point in the music, and that's not really an intellectual thing where I think about all the different styles. It's much more of a kind of feeling my way through the music and making music that feels right for me.
Brighton's finest.
Jeff Hemmings.
Jeff Hemmings.
This is
Juice 107.2.
Brighton's finest.
And it's done in almost isolation. You're out really kind of out in the sticks and
Actually,
Wiltshire,
no.
the Wiltshire-Dorset border.
Yeah, so I mean that's where I was, but I've got a pool of friends down there, and they're all absolutely wonderful musicians, and sharing the process was a real intention I had right from the start, because my first album, First Mind, was kind of written in solitude, and right the way from the beginning of this album I knew that I wanted to share the process, and that was happening naturally anyway. So I shared it with friends, and when I got into a moment of impatience or frustration with the writing process, they really shared it with me, and I with their own projects. It was a two-way thing, so that a pool of friends got to know the material. And then down the line, when I met the producer Ethan Johns, one of the first things he said to me was, probably everybody you need is closer than you think. And I said to him, well, yeah, there is all these friends and they're all unbelievable sick musicians and they know the material. And he sort of just shone it back to me. He was like, do it, go there, bring them down. So we were all in Real World Studios, which is Peter Gabriel's studios out in Wiltshire. It's a little haven in a valley, and it's all residential, so the baby was only 6 weeks old, and my wife, we all set up there. She sings on the record too, and a real pool of friends made this album, and that's why I love it so much and why I can back it so much, because it's not just me on my own with my own opinions. It's really a collective expression.
Sure. And it's more of an organic approach to this album, you would say, with the other musicians in mind, or did you present the songs as you wanted them and said, this is what I'd like you to do?
Well, I learned in lots of different ways through the process, and actually through the parallel of the pregnancy and the birth of the baby. It was so much about the next level for me was so much about surrendering control. It became really about that, and one of the ways Ethan, the producer, is a real master at that, in terms of like creating circumstances in the studio that support you to kind of step into the unknown and to kind of leave behind your plans, So one of those ways is working very quickly. Another one of those ways is recording in a live way, where you got a lot of sonic spillage over the microphones, and you can't be a perfectionist. That was the key thing for me. That was about that's what I mean about surrender and control. Is about I had to work out environments where I couldn't be a perfectionist, because I kind of was, and I was making these demos where the problem was they were perfect. I was listening to them. The architecture was just beautiful within the music. Everything was how I wanted it, and I was dry. I was cold and just not into it. So I had to make these environments that were fun and playful, and I couldn't entirely control.
Okay. And also, you took some of the music to Dan Carey as well.
That was the second half of the process.
That was the second. And Dan Carey, for those who don't know, is a well-known producer in his own right. Bat for Lashes, I believe, is one of his.
Yeah,
and,
Kate Tempest.
Kate Tempest did that amazing album with her, Let Them Eat Chaos, for instance. He's great, isn't he? Yeah. On the sort of a more electronic tip.
Dan's a really dear friend and was the producer of my first album. So, and he's a real master of living and breathing electronics, sequenced music that is alive, and once we were recording in Real World these tracks in this way that I wanted to, with everybody in a circle, capturing this realness and this rawness, it occurred to me that it would just be a beautiful thing to be able to take all these files, take them up to London with Dan, and then add the drum machines and the synthesizers and the arpeggiators that I wanted, because I've always cared about that side of music, and it's part of what I love. But after the human fact of all these real recordings, so that the sequence music was subservient to the to us as players. So if the track wants to speed up, it does, because we didn't record it to a click track, but we painstakingly applied these grid beat maps, these click tracks afterwards, so that we added each beat in, each click in one by one, so then we could make the arpeggiators go with the playing, but they would speed up and slow down with us. And I wondered if a lot of the music I love, like Fortet or Caribou, these electronic producers who achieve a very living, breathing electronics, if they work in that way. Probably it's like the oldest thing in the world, and but for me it was really exciting.
Okay, brilliant. Sounds amazing. So you've basically been gigging pre the album release, obviously, you've been doing some shows at Glastonbury. Did the Park Stage.
Yeah.
You did WOMAD, and I think you've got Festival coming up as well.
Festival number 6.
Festival number 6.
Into the Wild as well. They are the UK ones. Yeah.
So we had the chance to showcase some of the new material at these festivals, or is that yet to happen?
No, that's what these festivals are about for us. Because the friends who came together in the studio, something really clicked, and it became a band.
Yeah.
So now we are this band on the road. We're 5 of us on stage. It's a really cool thing, and that's been about presenting that this summer in the festivals and us finding our feet with it and getting it ready for the autumn.
Yeah. So it's a band setup. I think the last time I spoke to you, which was just after your debut album, was it just you pretty much on the road? You and somebody else, maybe?
It had been for a long time, a solo thing.
Yeah.
And then we put a band around it. After the release of the album,
Okay.
But this is a different band now.
All right, so you're going to come to Bexhill, just down the road from here.
Delaware Pavilion. That's right.
Do you know Bexhill?
I played it once.
Before
with Portico Quartet.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So you know it, yeah. Sleepy seaside town with an amazing venue right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we're gonna rock it. Yeah.
And that's the end of a tour, is it not? That's the last date
I think that's the last gig of our UK tour.
Okay, and then what's the plan after that?
Oh, I think almost straight away we go over to Holland and then France and some in Germany.
Okay.
And then with a minute's pause, we then go on to America up to December.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so you've got your guitar with you, and we're going to set you up in a second. But what are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play for you what is currently my newest single.
Yeah.
It's a song called Mountain to Move, and the origins of this song came out of it's me working out my frustrations at the end of touring my last album, and the way that ambition and expectation in this business, but for anybody, but certainly in this business, gets really run away and can get so huge without you even noticing it. So this song was me writing at a moment of letting my feelings catch up with me. And then, as always is the process with writing songs, like other messages come out, bigger messages, I sort of discover them as I'm writing it. So I think the song's about more than that, but that's where it came from.
Brighton's finest.
This is Juice.
Up in specialness, I wish we could see that we are kings of bliss, begging for misery, 'cause we get lost in comparison, looking outside of me. Now I see this world is unraveling. I wonder who could we be? I don't want to see us lose any more time. This moment is a mountain to move. Yeah, so move it inside. Wake up now. Wake up now. Wake up now. Wake up now. 'Cause Marianne is a healer. She had pain on the mind. She said your money's your medicine, but you're sick all the time, yeah, 'cause you got lost in comparison, yeah, always pretending you knew, yeah, when everything you were looking for, yeah, was already looking at you. Oh, I don't want to see us lose any more time. always pretending I knew, when everything I was looking for you, I was looking through. Wake up now, wake up now, wake up now, wake up now.
This is
Juice.
Brighton's finest.
Bringing the artists closer to you.